I have just got to give an update to the wackiest trial that's ever been broadcast. It finally concluded. And goodness gracious, geez Louise, I tell ya, what an adventure. Since the invention of video technology, we've been building up to a moment like this. This is why video exists. To capture this public trial, Gwyneth Paltrow versus Terry Sanderson. It's a legal battle where Terry Sanderson insists that Gwyneth Paltrow hit him on a skiing slope 7 years ago and it left him, debilitatingly injured, like a brain injury, turned him into a shut-in, this and that, and he was looking for $3 million in damages, which got thrown out pretty quickly. They wiped their ass with that whole case, saying that, this wasn't a hit and run, but then he came back for round 2 looking for the sloppy seconds and came after her again, this time for $300,000 in damages, and this time it made it all the way to court, and thank God for that because we got to watch it live. In response, Gwyneth Paltrow was countersuing for $1. A single dollar. Like Mr. Krabs with me millionth dollar. She was coming after him for a single buck. One clam. Though I do think he'd also be responsible for covering her attorney fees. So realistically, it's more than $1, but the damages she was pursuing was one single dollar. The verdict is in. I don't want to spoil anything from this anime, but I would like to show you a couple Terry Sanderson best of moments real quick, just to give you like a brief appetizer to wet your whistle on just how crazy this trial was.
Do you recall saying that you agreed that saying I'm famous was a crazy thing to say? Agree?
Absolutely, it's not me. I don't buy into that.
But it was you, right? Just to be clear. When you say it wasn't me, it was in fact you.
It's the other personality that's inhabiting my body right now.
And you blame Gwyneth Paltrow for that?
Yes. No question.
This case now turned into a demonic possession type deal going on right now. Terry's got spirits inside of his body that sometimes take control of it, I guess. Because it wasn't him that sent that email about, I'm famous. It was a different personality living with inside Terry right there, working him like a fucking puppet, I guess. Terry does deliver some very important entertainment to the trial. However, the real stars of the show are undoubtedly the lawyers for Paltrow and for Terry. I'm convinced that this had to be some kind of social experiment conducted by the Impractical Jokers, and they were using actors for these lawyer roles because, Jesus Christ, I really felt like they were just feeding them these questions. The lawyer for Terry, she was pretty much a huge Gwyneth Paltrow fan and was just asking softball questions and conversation starters, literal small talk that you'd see from like Ask Reddit advice on how to talk to like your celebrity crush. And then the lawyer for Gwyneth Paltrow, that man you saw at the end of the clip, that guy I'm pretty sure didn't even know where he was half the time. It was a complete circus. But I want to focus mainly just on Terry, and you'll see why in a little bit.
This is obviously an issue that someone needs to be accountable for. And if they're never accountable, what are they going to do? They're going to do it again. Now we have the molesting of young children on an island.
Your Honor,
Denial.
this is ridiculous testimony. He's talking about...
Sustained as to relevance, the last part, the jury should disregard.
This is really Terry's most iconic moment here, referencing Epstein's Island and putting himself as like the hero that could stop all of this if he only wins the lawsuit against Gwyneth Paltrow, basically. He hypes himself up like the fucking Batman who's standing up to her to put a kibosh on her hitting people on the slopes, as well as like, not letting it spiral out of control where kids start getting molested on an island. Now, like I said, I would wager a guess Gwyneth Paltrow has probably flown on Epstein's airline. Half of Hollywood has. Bunch of fucking evil weirdos out there. But it also has no relevance to the case at all in a fucking skiing accident and figuring out who was at fault. Now, I mentioned at the beginning Terry was claiming he suffered huge injuries from this thing. Traumatic injuries, debilitating stuff that, made him a shut-in because he was afraid to go outside now after experiencing such pain. Well, that got called into question in a big way. I'll just give you a little montage of all of the pictures that Terry took over the last few years since the incident of him traveling the world and doing pretty intense things like fucking parasailing. So they start poking holes in that claim of, you were so injured that it turned you into a shut-in, yet literally, not even a full year later, you're already back skiing, you're parasailing, you're riding mopeds, you're going fucking hog wild.
After the collision... up in the ski resorts, or what is this?
Yeah, about a year later.
I think I was just walking up in the hills above my house.
Okay, page 63. Is this you skiing after the collision? Is this you on a camel?
It is.
What country?
It's Morocco, because the Kia had Morocco heritage.
Let's go to 84. Is that you in front of something cool?
Yes, one of millions of temples in Thailand.
Is that you?
It is, yes.
Poster boy for fitness at age 75. Would you agree? Driving range, right?
Yes.
80. Is this you? Are you in this river boat?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Page 81. Did someone you were with or you go parish sailing?
This was in Switzerland.
It seems Terry has traveled more than Jackie Chan did in Around the World in 80 Days. Terry has been everywhere and done everything. Fucking parasailing. You know, all of that's super cool, but you have to keep in mind, this was post, Armageddon here, where he claimed that ski accident with Gwyneth Paltrow was debilitating, changed his whole life, turned him into a shut-in, left him with permanent injuries, and yet he was still super active, doing like physically demanding things, like going skiing again not long after the collision, fucking parasailing. That's a little interesting. So they kind of grilled Terry, and I want to make it clear, it's not like Gwyneth Paltrow did an amazing job either. It's not like her team was like fucking crack shot ace detectives, and it's not like she looked like some kind of genius saint up there or anything. But surprisingly, she looked sane in comparison to the rest of the circus around her, which is crazy because she fucking founded Goop, which is literally one of the stupidest goddamn things on the planet. I will still never get over her, this smells like my vagina candle scam. Very fraudulent, bad business practice there, because that smelled nothing like pussy. And certainly not hers. Absolutely not. But again, she wasn't amazing, but compared to the rest, she did enough. I'll go ahead and show you the verdict now.
Paltrow at fault? No. Was Gwyneth Paltrow's fault a cause of Terry Sanderson's harm? Oh, no, skip that.
There's just no response there.
Okay. Was Terry Sanderson at fault? Yes. Was Terry Sanderson's fault a cause Gwyneth Paltrow's Did Terry Sanderson's fault cause Gwyneth Paltrow's harm? Yes. Comparative fault. What % of the fault do you assign to Terry Sanderson? 100%. Damages. What amount fairly compensates Gwyneth Paltrow for economic damages? $1. Signed March 30th, 2023.
I love how if you listen closely, you can hear a subtle whisper when she says awarded like $1 in damages. Someone goes, nice. Which is fucking cute, I guess. Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow won the case. Shocker. If you watch this unfold, I think you knew this was coming. This was one hell of a trial. Like, wowee. What a ball game. Now, don't be upset, Terry Sanderson fans. After the trial concluded, he was interviewed outside, and he was in very high spirits. He was even asked about a reality TV show, if he'd be open to something like that. Which, of course, being the humble, not narcissistic gentleman that he is, he said, oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'll do a reality TV show. No way. Get out of town. But I'm not too sure. We might see more of Terry Sanderson in the limelight after this whole debacle here. But anyway, I just wanted to give a little update to all of this because this was so silly. This was so fucking silly. And yeah, that's really about it. So yeah.